Hi everybody, it's Joey, and I'm here to do a storytime video. Let me see. Yesterday I filmed an out for the day video, and tomorrow it's gonna snow, like hardcore. I just ate so much food from Olive Garden. I'm not even in front. I ate so much food from Olive Garden. Had my hair up in a fucking clip because and I don't even have, I have like a raggedy shirt on because I want to come on this camera and be authentic and exposed and be, I know I'm still wearing a face full of makeup, but I wanted to come and just be, just exposed, just be bare naked and just to do it like without being so perfect, a perfect outfit, perfect hair. Um, so I just have everything up. I don't even care. Like, I'm not even looking at the mirror. I usually always look at the mirror, but I'm not even looking at the mirror. Because I'm talking to you guys today about a serious thing. A really, really sad story. And, this is a story time. And I've never told you this story. I never told you, what I'm about to tell you guys before. Never. Not even on my old channel. I never did that. And I'm not gonna cry because I've cried so many times over this, telling the story without telling it, I mean, I've been crying nonstop over this. And this past week I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna talk about it. Because I want to just open up and tell you some guys about this part of my life that I've been keeping from you. So as you all know, my mother died. She passed away. I hope this much. I may have to do two separate videos. I'm going to do two separate videos. This video is going to be what led up to my mother's death. And then I'm going to do a separate video of my childhood and who I was as a child. And that's going to be another video. But this is going to be the video of my mother. Because I don't think the camera can take all this. I don't think. So, anyways, so my mother. My mother was a very creative person. I'm just going to give you a little backstory of her before I even tell you the real story. She's a very creative person. She loved to cook. She loved to clean. She loved all three of us. She really did. I think she loved all of us equally. She may have liked my brother a little more because, he was the youngest or whatever, but she really did love all of us equally, and it was me, my sister, and my brother. And, she just was the type that would give you the shirt off her back. She, let my sister's friends sleep over all the time. Like, she always, was giving and, always was like that. And she was beautiful to boot. With me, what I think I got from her is some of her looks. I think I got some of her personality. And I think I got some of her interests. So, yeah, I mean, she's very, 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 I miss her a lot. I really do. I miss her a lot. But, needless to say, my mom had my sister at, a young age. She was like 20 with this guy. And he didn't want my sister. He didn't want, but my mom kept her. So, basically he left. Like, my sister's father left the picture a long time ago. I think even before she was even born. And, my dad came into the picture sometime when my sister was 1 or even a few months old. I mean, really early into her when she wasn't even, I don't think she was even 1 yet. Or maybe she was, but she was an infant. And he came into my sister's life, and they basically were my dad adopted her, and everyone thought that she was my father's biological daughter. Well, not everyone. She did, I did, all the kids thought it, but, they obviously knew that she wasn't. They didn't want to tell her yet. So they eventually told her, yeah, okay, it was a shock because, we think, this is my sister, we have the same blood, but I mean, she's still my sister, but it's different because we only are like technically half because we have the same mother, but we don't share the same father. Anyways, I thought I would tell you that. So, anyway, so my mom and my dad had a very turbulent relationship. Very turbulent relationship. They would fight all the time. It was nonstop with them. It was literally nonstop with them. Just the arguing and the fighting. And I say this all the time, even though I was too young to remember. I say this all the time. My dad was picking on my mother on a lot of different things, and it pisses me off because I look at his wife now and how he is with his wife, and it's like the shit that she does and the shit she does to me. He would not have let it slide if it was my mother. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have. He would have given her shit a horrible time, like as he did. But with this woman this new woman he married, he just treats her differently than he did my mother. And I feel like if he treated my mother the way he treats this woman, then I feel like they might have still been together, to be completely honest with you. However, that being said, my mom was no perfect angel. When she got angry, it was a whole other fucking level. It really was. And unfortunately, I think she was under a lot of stress with my dad, and, even before she met my dad, she was dabbling in some drugs, not even gonna lie. But she did stop that. She did stop that for a while. And then my next door neighbor, Linda, was her best friend. She did drugs. So it was like, so then they started doing it, whatever. And I feel like just the stress with my dad constantly arguing fine with her, whatever the issues were, if it was the nose ring, if it was, I don't know, he didn't like the music she was playing, or if it was the fact that maybe she was doing some drugs or whatever. He was so terrible to her, so nasty, disgusting. Completely disgusting to her. He really was. I have to be honest with you, he really was. And he kind of treats me like that too a little bit, a lot of it. But yeah, he basically treated my mother that same way, as he treats me. Like, he just is horrible, always arguing. And not even just me specifically, he does this to a lot of people. Like, he just argues and fights with everyone over anything. Like, it's just, and he gets so angry. Like, my dad's really nutso. But my mom is no angel, as I said, and she did take it to the level a lot of the time. She took it to a whole other fucking level. She did. And with the drugs in her system, I think she went above and beyond. She would throw things, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a whole thing, whatever. So they got divorced, then they got married again, then they got divorced again. Through the second divorce, my grandma swears they got married 3 times, but my mom swears that it was actually only 2 times. But my grandma goes up and down saying, no, I think it was 3 times they got married. But I'm just gonna go with the way my mom told the story. They got married only twice. Throughout the second divorce, my dad was like, and I was actually in the room when this was going on. He was like, I don't want to say begging, but he was begging her, like, please, another chance. And she's like, no, this has gone on too far, too long enough. Enough is enough. So they finalized the divorce. He lived with his parents in Queens, and I stayed with my mom until I moved with my dad, which that's going to be a separate video. The way I was growing up, that's going to be a whole other video. Trust me, you will hear that story. I'm not going to not tell it. I will tell you that. But, so he lived with his parents. I lived with them eventually anyways, but that's neither here nor there with the point of the story. So my mom got this new boyfriend named Steve, and he was a nasty, disgusting, smelly person. However, the difference between Steve and between my dad's this wife that he remarried, this woman, this thing, the difference was I feel like Steve actually really did care about us. I really do. I really do think that he really did care about my brother and I and my sister. I really do believe it. I just think that he had a horrible temper. He had a few screws loose, and he just wasn't cleansy. So, the night my dad got married to the thing, my mom's boyfriend left her in the middle of the night. The night that my dad got remarried. So it was hard. This was the same year she died, in 2006. But even before then, she was going through things altogether. Like, in her mind, she would smoke, do drugs, whatever it was, and she would go through things. Like, she would think someone was after her. Shortly after 9/11, she kind of imagined this phone call that she had with this Iraqi person, I don't know how to say it, Afghanistan person, where she thought that he threatened her with the telephone or something. I don't know the whole story, but she was so involved in this and thinking someone was after her, which no one was. But she really thought that. She got cameras. She got like 10 locks. She got like 2 big pit bull dogs, or Rottweilers. She moved 3 times. So she really thought someone was after her, like trying to kill her. She really did. I don't know if it was the drugs, or she felt like someone was after her every moment of the day. So that took a strain, and a lot of us, like we didn't know, like we didn't see our mother anymore. We saw a totally different person. She changed even physically. She gained a lot of weight. So fast forward back to Steve leaving her, because he did. Shortly after that, like the whole summer, like she just was so, in 2006, she just was so, I don't know, like she was upset over Steve, and then my dad got remarried and everything. I just think it was all taking a toll on her paranoia, just the whole thing. I feel like everything was just taking a toll on her. The day, before I even continue, hold on. Oh, not so bad, only 11 minutes. The day the day before she died, let me go even further back in time, the week before she died, I came over because, as I told you, I was living with my father at the time, because that's going to be the type of video, I promise I will tell that story. I was living with my dad, and I would visit my mom every other weekend, whatever. So it was the weekend that I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, we were dropping off Michael. It was even the beginning of the weekend. I think it was Friday. We were dropping him off for some reason. I don't know why. I think we picked him up and we hung out with him because we knew we weren't going to spend time with him that weekend. So we picked him up and just spent time with him on the island, on Staten Island. And then we drove him back like Friday afternoon, Friday evening or something. And then my mom was like, because as I told you, my brother was living with my mom and I was living with my dad, so we would see each other every other weekend. She would get a weekend with me and he would get the next week with my brother, you know? Okay. So, she was sitting in the living room, we dropped off Michael, and I just was like, oh, you know, blah, blah, nice to see you, hello, whatever. And then I was like, so yeah, I'm gonna see you next weekend, because, you know, next weekend's our weekend. And she's like, Joe, please. She's like, please, I want you to stay this weekend. I want you to stay this weekend. She started crying. She's like, I want you to stay, you know, we're going to Friday's, restaurant, and I want you to stay this weekend. I'm like, I don't know, I have none of my stuff. I was just so, like, not prepared to be there for the weekend. I had none of my stuff. So, trust me, I regret this 100%, but I did leave, and I didn't stay. And the last image I have of my mother is her crying on the couch, telling me to please stay this weekend with her. So yeah, that's always going to be in the back of my mind. I regret it every single day, trust me, I think about it all the time. But during the week I was calling her up about the weekend, blah, 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 you know, what we're going to do the next weekend. And then during the middle of the week, I didn't get any more phone calls. So I started calling, and my grandma picked up. And my grandma lied to me at the time. She did. I said, you know, where's my mom? She goes, oh, you know, she's sleeping. She wasn't sleeping. What had happened was, that morning before I called to check up to see where she was and you know, I wanted to speak to her, she actually had a seizure. What had happened was, she dropped my brother off at school. She was sitting on the dining room table, my grandma's dining room table, because at the end she would stay with my grandma a lot, because I guess she felt comfort staying at my grandma's house because she thought someone was after her. So she was staying there, and she was in the dining room. My brother was at school, and my grandma was in the living room, and she heard a glass fall on the table. So she went over into the kitchen. She was like shaking. She was like, are you okay? Like, it looked like my mom had a dead stare on her face. Like, she just was like she was like, she wasn't there. And so my grandma kept shaking her, whatever, and she snapped out of it. She went back into the living room, and then she heard the glass fall again. So she went back into the kitchen. She's like, what the hell's going on? So this time she was like, literally, she wasn't there. Like, my grandma was speaking to her, but my mom wasn't there. She was having like an out-of-body experience or something. They called the ambulance. The ambulance came that night. My mom was admitted into the hospital. I didn't know any of this until the next day. But she was in the hospital, and, you know, because she had a seizure because she was taking a lot of medicines. And in the middle of the night, my grandma visited my mom in the hospital, then she left. And then in the middle of the night, my grandma thought had this thought in her mind. She goes, "Oh, Susan, I hope she doesn't, like, hope nothing happens to her tonight." Just out of, just thinking about it just for a second. And she's like, "No, that's just stupid. I'm not even gonna think about that, right?" So then she went to sleep, and then she got a phone call. It's like 4:30 in the morning. She got a phone call, and she picked it up, and it was the doctor, the hospital. He said, "Your daughter, I don't know how to tell you this. She didn't make it. She's gone. She passed away." And my grandma drops to the floor, screaming everything. She believes at the moment she thought in her mind that, oh my god, I think Susan might die tonight. That's when she thinks that's when she died. The moment that she thought that is when she thought that's when she passed away. So that morning at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, I never wake up before my dad wakes me up for school. Never in my life. I was 15 at the time, by the way. I was 15, my sister was 21, my brother was 12. This was in 2006, the end of 2006. This was September 29th. It was a Friday morning. I remember specifically, a Friday morning, September 29th, 2006. And he came into my room, and I was already up because, as I said, I woke up. I never do that, but I woke up before he even came in this time. And so he came in hysterically crying, and he was just like, I was like, oh shit, my great-grandmother, because I thought my great-grandmother died. She was 98 years old. And, I just thought it was her. He goes, I don't know how to tell you this. Like, looking at the floor hysterical, I was like, little Grams, huh? I was like, is it little Grams? And he goes, no, it's not little Grams. I go, what do you mean? He goes, your mother passed away this morning. I couldn't believe it. I was just staring at in my mind, I just stopped thinking. I was in shock. I was speechless. I remember just staring at the floor for like 10 minutes, and 10 minutes later, I think I like woke up out of it. And I was like, what, I was in total shock and disbelief. So then we drove over to my mom's house that she was living at before she died. And, we all gathered there. My cousins, my sister's girlfriend at the time, me, my brother, my dad, we all were there, my grandma, my aunt. We all were there, and we were just in the house, and I remember going upstairs, and I had alone time for a couple of minutes. This was right when I got to the house that morning. And I remember going upstairs to her room, and I remember the bed was all messed up. Like, she just got out of it. My brother told me that she thinks that she's at the supermarket, and she'll be back any minute now. He just didn't think it was real. And I didn't think it was really that. I looked at the bed, and I just was like, I feel like she just woke out of bed. Like, I feel like she just got out of the bed, and she's going down making breakfast or whatever. I felt like she was still alive. It didn't occur to me. It still was such a shock. But then when I laid in her bed, I laid in the bed, and I think that's when it hit me. Was when I started I was like laying in her bed, and I was looking at pictures of us on the bedroom walls, and I was just like going through some of her like old fragrances that smell like her, and just like all this stuff. And I just was like, that's when it hit me, and I don't know, I just started bawling. I broke down. I was like, this is it. This is really happening. Like, this is reality. My mom's dead, and she's never coming back. She's never coming back. So I'm happy I had that moment in her bedroom that morning after she died, because I feel like at that moment I was in shock the whole morning until I got to her bedroom, and that's when I broke down. I broke down. It finally hit me. So the funeral happened. It was a beautiful funeral. It was a beautiful funeral. That night that she died, or the next day, or a couple of days later, I think it was the morning of the wake, my grandma was outside in front of her house. We were having like the catering and this big sandwich, the big hero sandwich or whatever. Let me check the time. 19 minutes. I'll finish in 5 minutes. So she was the hero, whatever, and she was thinking outside. She was looking up at the sky, and she was like, "We're all here. We're all here, but we're missing one person. We're missing Susan, my mother." And right when she said that, a butterfly came fluttering down next to her foot. butterfly. A beautiful butterfly at that. And it fluttered onto her foot or whatever, and I think it just died, like right there, like on her foot. A beautiful butterfly. And my grandma looked and she knew that was Susan. She felt like that was her daughter. She was like, that was her coming to me, you know, giving me a sign that she is here and she is in a better place. So she took the butterfly, she took the butterfly and she put it in wax paper and she still has it to this day. That night, my sister was, home, and she got the same thing. It wasn't a butterfly, though. It was a moth. It was like my grandma can't explain it. It was like a butterfly / moth, whatever it was. It was like on the wall, staying at the wall and just following my sister around everywhere she went. Now, there was like a house full of people. She had all her friends over that night. They didn't follow any of them. They just, that butterfly or moth or whatever just followed my sister around. So, the next day, oh no, I had the story mixed up. So that morning, then the butterfly came, whatever. The morning that my grandma was saying someone's missing and it's Susan, the butterfly came, was flitting around her, whatever, and then I think he just fluttered away. That night, my sister got that same butterfly, but it was like transformed into a moth. And then the next morning is when she stood outside and she found the butterfly dead on the front. And then we just buried my mom, and she found the butterfly on the floor in front of the door, where it was flying. Where it was like that same butterfly but reincarnated on her doorstep. And that's when the butterfly died that morning. And that's when she put that butterfly in wax paper, and she has it till this day. So yeah, it is something to think, like, the fact that my mom came back as like a beautiful butterfly to show that she's here. And then the next day when we buried her, the fact that there was that dead butterfly, that same butterfly on the floor, just reincarnated, shows to me that was my mother. And once we buried her, she showed that she was at peace, and now she is, because my grandma said that the soul wanders the earth 3 days before they go. And I think that was my mom saying she was wandering the earth for 3 days as a butterfly. And when we buried her, it was 3 days later, and that's when the butterfly died. So my grandma's we all think that. We all think that was her. So yeah, that's it. That's the story of my mother. She died during a seizure in the hospital, 4 o'clock, I think it was 5, maybe it was 5 o'clock in the morning, Friday, September 29th, 2006. She was 42, I believe. She was 42. She was about to be 43. And she was 42 years old. I miss her every day. I think of her all the time. And all I do is think of her. I cry all the time. I really do. I cry all the time. Unfortunately, I always say the year 2006 is when I lost both my parents. I lost my father to this disgusting, horrible woman thing that he married. And then I lost my mother because she died. And I will tell you a little something about my dad's wife that's going to tell you a little bit about her character. The morning that my mother died, if I have time, I don't know if I have time. Okay, I have like 2 minutes. I'll say it very quick. The morning my mother died, she did say sorry. She did. I'll give her that. She did say, she came to me, she said, I'm sorry, and she gave me a hug. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front. She did do that. After that, she did not say one word to me, and I've lived with her. I was living with her at the time when, because they have already gotten married. I was living with her when my mother died. So, for her not to say one other word to me since the I'm sorry that morning really shows you her character and shows you who she is as a person. Not only that, but during the wake, it kind of seemed like she was trying to start a fight with me and arguments with me throughout the day because I had this suit jacket on. I had it upstairs, and she was like, oh, where's your jacket? I was like, it's upstairs. She goes, go get it now. And I'm like, okay, calm down. She's like, no, I want you to get it. Go get it. And just so nasty. And I'm like, you're in my mother's house, who just passed away 3 days ago, and you're going to and we just buried her, for God's sake, this month, and you're going to I couldn't believe it. 2 weeks later, she started a whole fight with me over nothing in her living room. A whole fight with me. Called me every name in the book. I swear to you, I didn't say anything to her. I did say one thing. I said, you know what? You have some goddamn nerve. My mother just died, and this is how you treat me. This is how you speak to me. You're such a bitch. I told her. That's what I told her. You're such a bitch. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my dad's new wife's character. She's not a new wife anymore, but I just want to tell you about her character a little bit and just delve deep in who she really is and why I feel the way I do about her. But that's not even scraping the surface. That's not even scraping the surface. I could have a whole other YouTube channel just talking about the shit she's done to me. I could. Anyways, so I'm done speaking about this. This video's going on and on and on. So this video's probably gonna cut me off. As I said, to end it off, I miss my mother every day. And it's sad that my mom's gone, and she's been gone for 12 years now, I think. Yeah, 12. It's going to be 12 years this September, I believe. Yeah, 12 years. It sucks. It sucks to lose a mother at 15. She didn't even get to see who I was or who I grew up to be. Like, I was so different back then. I'm going to do a separate video about that, but I was so different, and now, like, I'm so different now, and I just wish she would have seen the Joe that's here today instead of the one that was here when she died. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time video. And, yeah, I love you guys. And, just listen, if you have a mother, if you have a father, if you have adopted parents, or your grandma, grandpa, whoever's taking care of you, who was your parent figure, just keep them tight with you. Just don't let them go. Don't have those regrets. Trust me, they suck, alright? I love you guys, and bye.